Welcome everybody. Today we're going to be looking at 10 of the scariest hidden details in Arkham Knight. Thanks to Gotham Paladin, of course, for the video idea, even though there's a ton of other ranking videos. I just watched his, I got inspired by it. Anyways, go check out his video on the 10 most disturbing details in the Arkham games. I'll link it below. And no, these are not in order, so anyways, let's begin. Zsaz is one of the most evil and corrupted inmates in Gotham, or even the world, and he's done some horrible stuff to especially women who he targets. And in Arkham Knight, when we're analyzing some camera footage, he appears in the top left section of the screen in the bottom left. Kinda confusing, but if you played it, you'll realize. Anyways, he appears to be checking out the area. Now, what makes this so terrifying is that he's now loose in Gotham alongside these other inmates, and he has access to an open world where he can go out and target whoever he wants. And alongside that, it'll be extremely hard to track him with all the chaos going around. Victor Zsaz is tormented and evil, and with him running around, nobody is safe. For me, I would have liked to see him more in this game. Originally, they did have him in the game, but they decided to take him out. I think they're going to make some mission, but there's just a few talking points from him. But anyways, let's move on. If you've played Arkham Knight, you'd surely remember the great opening scene to the game. Not the Joker one, but where you begin in a diner in a busy Gotham before the chaos starts. You can see everyone walking around, all the cars going by, it's great. And of course, you play as a police officer. Now we all know what happens next. But if you did play it, you would remember Sharon the waitress. Well, if you play the Season of Infinity DLC, where you fight the sisters, you can come across a morgue with some open doors, or open slots, or whatever, and in one of them is Sharon the waitress and some of the others that were in the diner that night. The scariest part of that fact is that most likely everyone in that diner, or at least almost everybody that night, was killed, and in some gruesome way, from of course what we saw, which makes playing it a second time feel so much scarier. And of course that police officer got off pretty fortunate for what happened to him. Anyways, what makes it playing it a second time even much scarier, or feel much scarier, is now knowing what their fate will be if you could discover that detail. Now, this may be a more known one, but of course, after taking down the Man-Bat for one of the Batman missions, you can take him to the GCPD lockup. But if you come back a little later in the game, after you've locked him up, we see that he's escaped his cell. And if you travel to Chinatown and go to Dr. Langstrom's lab, you'll find that the place has been torn apart, and that his wife's body, who we previously saw on the floor, is now gone. And there's writing in blood on the wall that states, "Forever, my love." So, of course, this could mean a ton of different things, but it could also mean that she has become her husband's fate, and herself has turned into a human-bat hybrid. So yeah, some pretty scary stuff. This would be really interesting if they keep expanding the Arkham universe to have maybe a Man-Bat throwback mission where it's now his wife, or maybe both of them. Man-Bat did not die in the game, so you never know. Calendar Man has become a big part of the Arkham games in his own creepy and more secluded way. In Arkham City, we can talk to him on multiple occasions. Actually, Batman Arkham videos went and did this for every holiday, which is really cool, and showed all the details of him having different conversations for New Year's, Christmas, Halloween, Easter, etc., etc. And they're all pretty unique, and I'm really glad Rocksteady added that.
Funny thing, Halloween and Arkham. It seems redundant here. Within these walls, the monsters are on display year-round. Of course, there was that one year Joker led a breakout on All Hallows Eve. What a wonderful night. Costumed revelers innocently partying alongside killers and fiends. Of course, the real screams came when it was time to unmask. Trick or treat.
But of course, one of the most known quotes is when he said that he was there for Batman's beginning and he'll be there for his end. And this holds true, because after completing Arkham Knight, we see Wayne Manor getting absolutely destroyed and blown up, with a massive crowd outside, with reporters and citizens alike who are still in Gotham on the islands. And guess who's in that crowd watching? Yup, it's Calendar Man. So yeah, he was able to escape where he was in Arkham City, and now he's out on the loose. So he's gonna be killing on these holidays. And he was correct, he'll be there for Batman's end. Which, of course, now we know that it's not necessarily true, seeing the Suicide Squad Kill Justice League trailers. Now this one I'm actually a bit mad about, because I actually like Killer Moth a lot as a villain, and I feel DC has done him dirty in many renditions. But of course, that's not what we're here for. So of course, we know about Killer Moth's appearance in Arkham Asylum, but in the Red Hood DLC, we hear some thugs talking about him during one of the missions. Here, take a listen.
Where does this one come from? Well, was he the one who took down Killer Moth last month?
It just sucks that he only made a quick Easter egg appearance in Asylum and now a single voice line in Arkham Knight in its DLC. But this shows how terrifying Red Hood really is if you're a villain in Gotham, because he's taking down some very skilled villains like Killer Moth.
What is... Let me out! Please! Please, please let me out! I need it! It calls to me, please!
Who, if you didn't know, is extremely good in martial arts and has a decent tactical knowledge. So yeah, Killer Moth is not just some funny superhero name with a cool design. He actually is pretty impressive. But other than that, that's just kind of all he has. And of course, it was cool to see him in Arkham Asylum. Now, this is an extremely messed up scenario. Now, some of you may have known about Oracle, or how she became Oracle, from previously being a crime fighter, aka Batgirl. And it was pretty cool that we got to play as her in the DLC. But anyways, if you don't know, she was shot in the torso by Joker in her own apartment in Gotham City, which is, of course, how she became Oracle and what we know about her in the Arkham game. And now, in Arkham Knight, we're able to see this and how it actually happened. When Batman is having some vision/hallucination moments where he's in her apartment and sees the whole thing play out in front of him. So, I'll show you the clip here.
Colleen? Is that you again?
Candy Graham!
Oh, don't pass out just yet. Come on. Show a little spine. Just wait till your father gets home. He's going to be furious about all this mess.
So yeah, a pretty messed up scenario that changed Barbara Gordon's life forever. And I don't want to say too much just because YouTube might take it down or get pissed, but after she was shot by Joker, he took some very inappropriate photos of her on the ground while she was still unconscious. And her father, Jim Gordon, of course a police commissioner, sadly found her like this, and it's just a pretty shit and horrible messed up scenario, and it really shows that the Joker is really messed up, and a lot of people see him from the Arkham games as some funny evil villain, but he really did do some pretty horrible shit. But of course, she bounced back and has helped Batman take down some of his worst villains. And it's awesome that we got to hear from Oracle in Arkham Asylum, Arkham City after she takes over for Alfred, and now see her in Arkham Knight. So it's pretty cool. It's also cool, if you visit the GCPD and you see her, you can actually do the scan on her, and it shows the bullet wound she got, and just some cool Rocksteady details. Now, shout out to Needle Mouse, because I never noticed this one. So, in the GCPD, there are a ton of posters on the wall of missing persons, and one of them is a girl who you may feel is a bit familiar if you've played the Professor Pyg missions. After taking down Pyg, you can free the prisoners who have been taken capture and were going to be turned into Dollatrons by Pyg, which are pretty scary, and one of those people who are freed is the same woman who was on the missing persons poster in the GCPD. So yeah, a detail most would have missed. Me, myself, I also did. But it's pretty cool, and of course, some great more detail from Rocksteady, because they're pretty good at that stuff. Okay, so I'll be honest, this one's not really scary, but really interesting actually. So Jack Ryder, one of the biggest reporters in Gotham, alongside Vicky Vale, who most of you should know if you played the Arkham games, has an alter ego of a hero in the comics, known as the Creeper. The Creeper is actually pretty powerful, and he has abilities like transformation, of course, that's how he does it, superhuman strength, stamina, durability, speed, a great agility, reflexes, leaping, and senses, and accelerated healing, which is really impressive. So yeah, I just personally found this one out, and it's really cool and interesting. And I thought it was really awesome that Rocksteady decided to add Jack into this game, showing their care and detailness that we all know and love from them. But it would be pretty awesome to get some more Easter eggs or conversation about the Creeper in future games, because I doubt Mr. Ryder won't be a part of them. But you never know, maybe even in Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. But I doubt it, because they're mainly Metropolis. But overall, a really cool detail put into the game by Rocksteady that I had no idea about before, and I thought Jack Ryder was just a famous person from the comics that they decided to add, and it was pretty cool. So, in City, There's a lot of graffiti and art all along the walls, but one that sticks out is this image of Batman. From the average person's point of view about him, they see him as a creature of the night that is invincible. To me, that's great because it shows that Batman's goal of his image has worked, and thugs and criminals are terrified of him, which is Batman's whole goal. Paired alongside this, of course, is the hallucinations that some have when they see Batman. Instead of their worst fear, it's just a really distorted version of him. Like, for example, when Scarecrow is injected fear toxin, and when the criminals in the alley see Batman as after the Nightfall Protocol in that cutscene. So the image is really cool. It just shows Batman in a scary version with bullet holes in him that really just show that the thugs and criminals on the streets are terrified of him, and that's what they see him as. Now the scariest of all, the most terrifying at number 10. The new Batman suit from the Batman movie that they put in Arkham Knight. Just kidding. Though, they do need to do a bit of maintenance on it for the shadows, of course. Anyways, the actual number 10 is the hostages that Mad Hatter took that Batman had to go and rescue in Mad Hatter's missions. So, after you rescue the hostages, they thank you, of course. The most prevalent thing they have in common is that they have no memory of what happened or how and why they got there. All they can remember is what they were doing last. Here's a clip.
Batman? What happened? How the hell did I end up here?
Tell me what you remember.
I was chasing down some rioters and the siren went all screwy. I had to pull over. Next thing I know, I'm waking up in the dark with that siren blaring. I thought it would never end.
You're safe now. I'll send someone to pick you up.
So yeah, pretty much, at least the first one, it was a police officer who's driving and nothing after that. And that, of course, means two things. Tetch still has a crew in Gotham that are free roaming and able to kidnap and transport their victims whenever and they want. And of course now, especially in Gotham, because all hell broke loose. And that he still has a ton of power left within Gotham, which is also terrifying, because he's one of the most twisted and evil supervillains in Gotham. If you've read anything or heard anything on Jervis Tetch, aka the Mad Hatter, you know he's done some horrible things to people, especially women around Gotham. It was also really cool to see him in Arkham City because he had a great mission there too. And it was pretty similar in what you had to do in Arkham Knight for his mission. But I won't spoil too much if you've yet to play the game. But overall, he's super messed up. And at least we took him down and he put himself in the GCPD.
You're not going to drink your tea. It's special tea. My special tea.
Thanks for watching. This is the first video on the channel, of course. So sub if you'd like. It'd be awesome and it would greatly help me in starting up this channel. I also have another channel that focuses on Star Wars, but I've put out a few DC stuff on it. It's called Tyrannix. I'll link it on the channel below, and it's also linked in my YouTube channel homepage. Anyways, if you have any video recommendations, feel free to let me know down below. It would be awesome and great to hear you guys. Anyways, stay safe and goodbye.